What's up, weirdos? What's going on, guys? Good morning. All right, so Powell rocking the markets this morning, my friends. Rocking the markets. I'm just going to dive right into that, and then we'll get into the rest of it. Let's kick it off, guys, like we always do. Powell, the shifting balance of risk may warrant adjusting our policy stance.
In the near term, risks to inflation are tilted to the upside, and risks to employment to the downside, a challenging situation. When our goals are in tension like this, our framework calls for us to balance both sides of our dual mandate. Our policy rate is now 100 basis points closer to neutral than it was a year ago, and the stability of the unemployment rate and other labor market measures allows us to proceed carefully as we consider changes to our policy stance. Nonetheless, with policy in restrictive territory, the baseline outlook and the shifting balance of risks may warrant adjusting our policy stance.
Let's go!
Monetary policy is not on a preset course. FOMC members will make these decisions based solely on their assessment of the data and its implications for the economic outlook and the balance of risks.
Do it now! Do it! Come on! What do we got? Crypto JPEG. Yeah, but are we there yet? Love you, Rob. You've helped us all so much. If not for the Patreon, if you're not on the Patreon, you're missing out. Absolutely, brother. There she is, Gamma Goddess. Always a breath of fresh air first thing in the morning. Powell's speech was bullish. Let's get this money. Absolutely, Gamma. Absolutely. All right, so let's see what's going on in the chat. How is everybody feeling as a result? I'll show you how everybody's feeling. Boom. Look at that green candle. Look at that green candle. We shot from $111,658 to $116,000 quick as a hiccup. Quicker than a wink in a young girl's eye. I'm telling you right now, guys. That's how we move. Let's get into the chat a little bit. What's going on, William? Good to see you, buddy. Listen, this could have been just as devastating to the downside had he alluded to no rate cut in September. So, count your lucky stars, right? Pray to whatever God you believe in and be happy. Fridge, send it. Let's go, baby. Nathan, what's going on, man? Ty, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Jeffrey, where you been, brother? Good to see you, man. Put my phone down for 10 minutes. Nice. Spuds. What's going on? You see, guys, though, why I'm always telling you that you always have to be paying attention. You always have to be, on the ball. Absolutely, man. 85 Crash. Good morning, peeps. What's going on? David, get well, Rob. Let's go. Thank you so much. Tyler, good morning, Rob. Markets are looking great. Market can only be held down so long. Exactly. 100%. We have 259 people watching. We got 58 likes, guys. Let's get those likes up. Let's get over 100 first of all. First goal, you can do it. Put your back into it. H. Barbarina, it's all good in the Shire. Don't panic, my little grasshopper. Absolutely. Funky. What's going on, buddy? First time Powell was positive. I do believe we will see a rate cut in September. ETH now pumping past the monthly. Let's go. We're going to look at the Ethereum chart as well. Alex, what did Powell say? I missed it. You'll see. Well, I already played it. So, Z-Man, I hate that the markets are driven by one man's actions unless those actions pump the market. Hey, you know what's funny, guys? If you were not here for the 2021 cycle, the frustration you feel about one man having the ability to pump or dump the market, we were at the whim of Elon Musk in the 2020-2021 cycle. Anyone who is there will verify this for you in the chat. Every single time that man tweeted something out in the 2020-2021 cycle, it either pumped or dumped the markets. And it was extremely aggravating because he did it on purpose and he would openly laugh about it, right? So that was frustration, right? So yes, Mike, let's go, buddy. Let's go. Beebs, my dude. What's going on? Lord of the Realm, what's going on, man? ETH is on the rise. Arrow, baby. Absolutely. Oh, Ramona. Good morning, Rob. Thank you for all you do. Ramona, yes, absolutely. Sorry about yesterday. You know what? I shut everything down yesterday. I was getting attacked left, right, and center, and I shut everything right down. So I will do your coaching call today. I will do your coaching call today. Big Kev, did the dam start to crack? Is the incoming flood approaching fast? Let's get it. Let's go. Absolutely. All right. What else do we have? Where are we? Where are we? Jared, nice up in time to catch the morning live. There you go, brother. There you go. Nicholas, what's up, big dog? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Paul's in the house. Good morning, Rob. Once again, appreciate your positive thoughts, even in the red days. Absolutely, brother. Motivation Daily. House Hippo for chairman. Let's get it. Bitcoin dominance is falling off a cliff. Let's go have a look at the Bitcoin dominance. I haven't even looked at the Bitcoin dominance yet this morning. I've been up since about 6:30 making content for you guys. So, right, what do we have? What do we have? First off, total 2 breaking out of the bull flag. Check it out, guys. We are moving to the upside. Breakout. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I told you guys to be patient. I told you guys to be patient, right? Some people were patient. Some people cried like sissy bears, chicken wusses. Look at that Bitcoin dominance collapsing down past support, 58.97. Let's go. Full collapse in progress, guys. I want to see this completely drop. Let's get it down to 40% so we can see altcoins really start to shine, baby. Absolutely. You know what else we haven't looked at in a while? We haven't looked at the M2 money supply in a couple of days. Look at Bitcoin just chopping. Just chopping, man. All right. Let's see. What do we have here? Come on. Oh, yeah. M2's made a leg up today as well. Check it out, guys. Is the M2 breaking above, though? It is. M2 money supply is breaking out as well. Oh, ho, ho. Are you ready? Are you ready? You'll love to see that. It is breaking. We got to get a good close today, though. We got to get a good close. So we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. But everything looks fantastic this morning. And you were bearish. And you were bearish. Yes, you were. Shut up. Good morning, crypto fam. Sergio in the house. Motivation Daily says like, subscribe, and join the Patreon. Absolutely. If you're not part of the community, guys, you are missing out. David. Yeah, David's got the butts. What's going on, buddy? Dennis. Crazy how the whole sentiment changes because of one little thing. Right? Right? I know. It's crazy. Paul says 90% chance of a 25 basis point cut, maybe 50 cut in September. Let's go. House Simple for chairman. Like, subscribe, join the Patreon. E. Perez, what's going on? I'm scared of winning, baby. Ditto's in the house. Great Moonwell Spaces video yesterday. I thought it was interesting when they talked about Coinbase wanting to become a bank and how they believe Base will be huge. Absolutely, I agree. I thought it was fascinating as well. I loved the conversation. And I liked how it was just kind of like some dudes sitting around chatting. You know, it wasn't like hard to understand for people and stuff like that, right? I didn't have to do a lot of explaining for that one, so it was good. Definitely bullish on Moonwell. The only when I ask every day is when Rob. Nice AF. Happy Friday, brother Rob. Yes, it is open mic weekend as well, guys. Make sure you are over there. Hosted by our very own crypto mom, Ramona. Crypto perpetrator. Green Day is slowly becoming my new favorite band. Absolutely. When it comes around. See what I did there? See what I did there? I want to see your sweet smile, brother. There we go. There we go. Rock on, Rob. Awesome, awesome. Good morning. Optimistic. Do it now. Do it. Pump in anticipation for a rig. Yes, now the market starts to price in a September rate cut again. So the first half of the month, we were pricing in a September cut. Then the PPI came in, and then we started pricing in no cut. So now the market is once again pricing in a cut. And the debate will now start to heat up again on whether it will be a 25 basis point rate cut or a 50 basis point rate cut. So hopefully it's a 50, but we'll see, guys. We'll see. Over the top, what's going on, buddy? Enjoying the new schedule. Nice. AF, we need your support, brother. Make money. Awesome news, Rob. Absolutely, man. Hey, Rob. Hello from Bangkok in the house. My guy, Philip. My dude, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you again. Is that 2 days in a row? Awesome, brother. Awesome. I think you were here yesterday or the day before. One of the two. Monkey Snake, any dump before September? I'm buying. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's a me, Mario. It doesn't matter what the Bears think. Morning, man. Dave's in the house. Jackson Hole will have another hole with Powell in town. Let's go. Is it a Powell pump? It is. Gabe, owner in the house. Owners in the house. Let's go. John, blessings, my friend. We are back. Smash the like button. Absolutely. Can you dumb down Colin's Talk Crypto video on Tether Metric he did? Can I dumb it down? I don't know if I've watched it. I don't know if I saw. Was it today? I haven't watched any content on YouTube yet today. So if it was today, I haven't caught it. Alex, you the man, brother. You're the man. Thank you so much. Was crying on the inside for a second there. What about the Russell? Oh, yeah, let's look at the Russell. Let's look at the Russell. Yeah, we haven't looked at the Russell in a few days either. Let me just get rid of the M2 here. Russell's breaking past resistance, guys. Russell's looking good, too. Look at that. All signs point to liftoff. And you were bearish. Come on. Pump it, Powell. Rob's the man. There you go. There you go. Gigapump, super fantastic. Ripple will be its own bank too. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Green Day, when September. I see what you did, Beebs. I hit Gary Daly. So was the Powell speech positive? Just got to work. Well, what do you think? Look at the Bitcoin chart and you tell me. We're almost at 117,000 now. That would be a hell yeah. Tony, where have you been, brother? Might have said it already. What did Powell do to pump markets? Yeah, I literally, to kick off the live stream, I played his the little snippet of what he said. I think they have been waiting for the right narrative to cut rates. The morning after, guy, I sold some of my ZBEC because of an emergency last night. Damn, that's, oh, man. Hey, but you know what? Emergencies happen, and life gets in the way, my friend. That's what happens, right? But is another fake pump every time we get a 2-cent region, Jasmine? Oh, I mean, we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see, right? We'll play it out. Hit the like or the pump will stop. Yes, 85 Crash says, guys, if you don't hit the like button, the pump will in fact stop. It's scientifically proven. Fridge here, Rob. What's our next target for ZBEC? ZBEC. Next target we got to break above is, I did a short on it this morning. Do you guys not watch anything that I put out? I did a short this morning giving you your support and resistance levels for ZBEC. Your resistance is at 2047089. I'm done planting trees now. Thank you for keeping me positive. Hey, absolutely. H. Barbarina. Hey, Rob, are you doing swing trading in the bear market? Yes, I will be. Yes, I will be. Good deal. I always hope for the best, but expect the worst. There you go. I've been buying XTB and Miria this week. Nice. There you go. See? Consistency and patience, my friends, absolutely pays off. ETH is pumping too. Yes, we're going to go have a look at the Ethereum chart. What's your target for Miria? The moon, my friend. Fridge. Sorry, Rob. It's early on the West Coast. See, no worry. I'm just giving you a hard time, brother. I'm just giving you a hard time. Let's go look at Ethereum. I got to bust some balls, you know? I got to bust some balls. Come on. Oh, look, the bull came home for the weekend. Let's get it. Absolutely. All right, so we're on ZBEC right now. Let's go have a look at Ethereum. Look at the breakout of the bull flag on Ethereum, my friends. past resistance. Look at that beautiful textbook breakout of the bull flag. You love to see that, guys. Still pumping. $4,667. Ethereum is ready to go. We got to break above the local high here that we had earlier in the month, 47.50. That's what we're looking to break above right now. Textbook breakout, guys. I want you guys to go back to yesterday and watch what I said, because we were up here and I said we're likely going to come back down, test this range for support at 42.23, which we did exactly, and that we were probably going to break out going into the weekend. And sure as you know what, here we are with it playing out exactly as I said it would, right? You'll love that. You'll love that. Hey Rob, do you do swing trades on stocks too? Occasionally, yes, I do occasionally. Yes. All right, we're caught up in the chat. Let's get into the news, guys. I don't want to spend 45 minutes of the hour-long stream doing altcoin requests. So let's get into the news a little bit. Look at these bubbles, guys. This just went from dark red to dark green, quick as a hiccup. Look at that market. You'll love to see that. Suddenly everything's up. Almost most things are up double. Some things are up double digits anyways. You'll love it. You'll love it. All right. I got a little clip here from Pompliano, guys. Check this out. I like the message. So he says the Bitcoin bull market is not over yet.
Capital allocators got attention spans of ants, and now they seem to have short-term amnesia as well. In recent days, Bitcoin has fallen from its latest all-time high of $124,000, and that has sparked a debate on whether the Bitcoin cycle is over or not. Now, does it matter that Bitcoin's up 20% year to date, or that Bitcoin's up nearly 2x in the last year? Nope, of course not. The media and the market commentators, they are too busy injecting fear and uncertainty into the market. They want to know if the pullback signals the end of this cycle. They say that maybe the Bitcoin hype was completely unsubstantiated. Maybe the Bitcoin bears were right that the digital currency could never fulfill its promise. But of course, this is all noise. The data is overwhelming. The Bitcoin bull market is not over yet. Let's start with the 30 different Bitcoin bull market peak glass. We've not hit a single one of them yet. 0 for 30. Zilch. None of them. It's hard for the bull market to be over if we haven't hit any of the market peak indicators. Now, we also know that Bitcoin tends to cool off in late August and all of September during bull markets. Investor Yannick Morar writes that in each of the 2013, 2017, and 2021 bull market years, July, August, September, and October, green, green, red, and green respectively. The same is likely to occur this year, he says. We might see a pullback in September, followed by a final 20 to 30% gain in October and into early November. And now, if you are someone who is merely focused on the short term, analyst Frank Fetter points out that Bitcoin appears to be oversold at the moment, according to the Relative Strength Index. So the recent drawdown in price is likely part of the normal volatility in Bitcoin bull markets. We used to get multiple 30% drawdowns in a bull market, but now we tend to only get 1 or 2 of those large drawdowns. Instead, we continue to see 5 to 15% drops in price, which of course are healthy. They help to clear out leverage, and they allow the asset to set itself up for the next leg higher in price. And you can see this reset clearly in the dashboard assembled by Frank Fetter. All 4 metrics are either neutral to cool, which means the market is still in great shape and it should continue to appreciate in price through the coming months. And now here's a crazy stat that will blow your mind from Fidelity's Chris Couper. He writes a significant shift happened in Bitcoin's ecosystem post-2024 halving. For the first time, the amount of Bitcoin held for 10 plus years, known as ancient supply, that is growing faster than new coins mined. An average of 566 Bitcoin per day are moving into this long-term category compared to only 450 new Bitcoin issued daily. This signals strong conviction from these long-term holders, according to Chris. Now, these on-chain analytics, combined with the broader market trends, prove that Bitcoin is simply maturing. We are now getting to a market cap size and a market education level where every market participant can now prudently allocate capital to Bitcoin. This, of course, will also bring down volatility over time. It's not rocket science. So I went on CNBC Squawk Box this morning to explain it all. Here's what I had to say.
Well, I think that Bitcoin is a very volatile asset. And what we know is in bull market.
I'm going to stop it there because I do have the full clip of him over on Squawk Box that I'm going to get into. So That's why I'm going to stop that right there. Get into an article. We will pick it up again in a few moments. Ethereum ETFs record strong inflows after market reversal. Ethereum spot ETFs have staged a strong comeback after several days of heavy outflows, reigniting investor confidence in the asset. On August 20th, net inflows surged 287.6 million, pushing the total ETF asset to 26.55 billion. The rebound came after 4 straight days of losses, offering renewed optimism to market participants. During this period, Ethereum traded at 42.24, reflecting a cautious but recovering sentiment in broader crypto markets. ETF flows in 2025 revealed clear cycles of investor activity. February and March saw muted inflows, with institutions remaining cautious. However, April marked the start of momentum. As daily inflows picked up steadily, by May, inflows became more frequent, showing growing interest in Ethereum's exposure. In Ethereum exposure. The most dramatic surge arrived in July, when inflows spiked above 900 million in a single trading day. Green bars dominated charts, signaling strong buying pressure and heavy institutional demand. Moreover, the July rally marked the highest recorded activity across all months, reflecting peak appetite for Ethereum investment products. August, though, brought a change. Often red bars appeared, signifying significant net outflows. The highest known ETF outflow occurred in just 3 days, when investors pulled out $1.73 billion, particularly during periods of market volatility. This reversal demonstrates how swiftly institutional participation may shift. Ethereum's on-chain metrics are still robust outside of the ETFs. Nearing its peak at 1.9 million transactions per day, the network handled 1.7 million transactions every day. Daily activity addresses are also still strong at 550,000, which is a little less than 580,000 from the week before. This action highlights Ethereum's steady use in spite of ETF volatility. In decentralized finance, Ethereum maintains dominance with 88.87 billion locked in DeFi protocols. However, this figure has dropped by over $8 billion from last week's $97 billion. The decline reflects short-term liquidity pullbacks, yet the sector continues to hold significant capital. Ethereum's ETFs continue to attract massive institutional flows. Despite volatility, strong network activity shows adoption remains firm, but investor sentiment can shift quickly, as we've seen this morning. Right? Oh man, absolutely. All right, now let's segue back over to Pomp over on Squawk Box. All right, so here's Pomp continuing on with what he was saying in his video.
Crypto. Joining us right now, Anthony Pompliano, founder and CEO of Professional Capital Management. Good morning to you. What do you make of what's happening here with Bitcoin? I know you're going to say, well, you know, it's a little bit of a reversal, but maybe just a little bit.
Well, I think that Bitcoin is a very volatile asset. And what we know is in bull markets, usually there are these drawbacks. But the drawbacks historically have been 30% drawdowns. And these haven't been 30%. These have been more like 10, 15% drawdowns. And so what I think we're watching is a market that's maturing. Institutions are coming in. It's getting bigger. And so what you're starting to see is kind of muted volatility. And that means that people who are hoping Bitcoin's going to go to $400,000 or $500,000 in a bull market, this cycle is probably not going to happen, but also people who think that you're going to get, you know, kind of 85, 90% drawdowns in the bear markets. That's probably not going to happen either.
Okay, so if neither of those things are happening, maybe it looks a little bit more like what you've always said, gold.
Well, I think that Bitcoin has gone from a contrarian trade to consensus trade. And in order to do that, you need it to become less volatile. Because for institutions, what they want is they want something that is more volatile than the assets they hold, but they can't have something that is going up, you know, hundreds of percent and down 90%. And they have to constantly report kind of a mark to market. And so what I think you're watching here is just the maturation of this asset. And then what I also think is pretty interesting is the holder base is rotating. And so you went from kind of a pure retail audience that, frankly, is subject to fear and greed, to now you have a lot of institutions that in public companies, they're not going to sell. You have the ETFs, they're likely going to act very differently. And so I think that this is all kind of natural and a good sign for Bitcoin in the long run.
What do you think the floor is from where we are right now? And what do you think the upside is, given that, as you said, a lot of folks who come on our broadcast, Kathy Wood and others, who would tell you that, she thinks this is supposed to get to 500,000 or $1 million a coin.
Zero and infinity.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think that Bitcoin will definitely go to $1 million at some point in the future. I just think this cycle, right, it's very unlikely that it's going to go to $1 million. And so what is the floor? I don't know, right? What I do know is right now at $112,000, $113,000, it's pretty oversold. And so I would expect that you have two things lining up. You've got kind of the overselling of Bitcoin, and you're headed into kind of September, October, which is usually a pretty good time, especially if it is the year after a halving. But also, if you look at like the VIX seasonality chart, usually right about now, you'll start to see the VIX really start to kind of move upwards, and we get a lot more volatility. And so I just think that it's August. People are on vacation. They're tired. They're, not paying attention, and things kind of just draw down. And starting in September, we should see Bitcoin kind of come back alive again.
Because of what, though?
Well, I think there is kind of a simple thing of just like people in front of their screens in September, they're not in front of their screen in August. And so people are buying and being more active. But also, I think that you've got a lot of speculation on a Fed interest rate cut. I think you've got a lot of the people who raised capital for these Bitcoin treasury companies that are going to start buying in kind of late August, early September. And then I also think that if people believe that the end of Q3 and the beginning of Q4 is a good time for Bitcoin, people start to act in a way that makes sense.
But the folks that are selling, you think are selling for what reason? And the reason I'm asking that is I've heard from a bunch of people who have actually sold some Bitcoin, moved it into Ethereum. That actually has been one trade for some folks. There's another trade among sort of folks who are interested in blockchain, but not necessarily Bitcoin per se, who've actually bought into Circle, for example, publicly traded company that sells stablecoin, that it's a stablecoin business. Do you see people moving from one place to the other?
Well, some people are definitely doing it. I don't know if I would suggest people do that. The whole blockchain, not Bitcoin, is kind of like a 2016, 2017 viewpoint. I think that's been pretty much disproven that Bitcoin is the king. It's been the king. It's going to remain the king. But on top of that, I do think that there's a lot more opportunities for people to play this. And what you are getting is you're getting capital markets where people are optimizing for different things. Some people want yield. Some people want infrastructure. Some people want the actual underlying asset, Bitcoin itself. And so I think that you're going to get fracturing of capital, which again leads to that muted volatility.
In terms of ETFs, what kind of volume are you seeing going there versus what's at people buying the underlying asset?
I think that
how much does that matter?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of people who they can't buy Bitcoin, so they're going to go buy the ETFs. Now, one thing that I do think is pretty interesting is I have seen a number of people in the Bitcoin community who, are purported to have large holdings who have said, hey, look, actually, I'm going to convert the Bitcoin into the ETF because from a security perspective, it's something that somebody can't necessarily hack or take from me. I don't think that's going to be the norm. I think that you're still going to see the Bitcoin community talk a lot about kind of not your keys, not your coins, and make sure you have custody of the asset. But there are people who are doing stuff like that.
Those are 2 points that I often talk about, guys, is there's a lot of people who are not tech savvy, who do not want to learn how to create a wallet or create an account on an exchange and hold their own Bitcoin. They don't want to learn how to do that stuff. So they'll just go to a bank and get an ETF through their bank, right? Because it's just easier for them. And there's going to be a large section of retail investors and institutional investors who go that route. And then, like he said, there's also the security aspect of it, right? Where people don't want to risk self-custody because now you're responsible. And there is no safety net if you get hacked, if your Bitcoin gets stolen, your crypto gets stolen. There's no reimbursement process, right? You're just screwed. So a lot of people want to trust the custody of their crypto and their Bitcoin to their bank or institution because then they know that it's safe, it's insured, they're covered, they're good, right? They're not responsible. A lot of people want that added layer of security. So Strawberry Dragon, Holy Friday is insane how quick the market can turn around. Appreciate all you do. Thank you so much. I agree. Yeah, we're just a hair below $117,000 now. Crazy how quick things can change. Australia cracks down on Binance with external audit demands. Australian Transaction Reports and Analysis Center, or AUSTRAC, has ordered Binance Australia to appoint an external auditor after identifying serious weaknesses in the crypto exchange's anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing AML CTF system. Investbyte Pty Ltd, Binance Global's Australian arm, is an AUSTRAC registered digital currency exchange provider. Binance was founded in 2017 and is now the world's largest crypto exchange by trading volume, operating in about 20 countries. The AUSTRAC CEO, Brendan Thomas, said, "The move follows the agency's National Risk Assessment 2024, which highlights growing risks of criminal abuse in digital currencies." Quote, "Big global operators may appear well-resourced and positioned to meet complex regulatory requirements, but if they don't understand local money laundering and, facing risks, they are failing to meet these AML CTF obligations in Australia." The AUSTRAC flagged issues, including a limited scope of Binance's independent review, high staff turnover, insufficient local resources, and weak senior management oversight. The regulator said international exchanges must have strong customer identifications, due diligence, and transaction monitoring, especially in high-risk markets. Thomas urged digital currency platforms to monitor suspicious activity, including scams, cybercrime, and all digital currencies operators need to ensure they are complying with Australian law and limiting their exposure to crime. Binance Australia has 28 days to pick the AUSTRAC approved auditor. The audit will check if the rules against money laundering and meet Australian standards and protect crypto from misuse. In May of 2024, the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Center of Canada, or FinTrack, fined Binance $6 million, approximately 4.4 million US, because it had not registered as a foreign money service business and had not reported large transactions of virtual currencies in Canada of $10,000 or more. In 2021, the Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA, of the United Kingdom instructed Binance Markets Limited to cease all regulated activities because of its non-compliance with AML regulations. In February 2024, the United States federal judge accepted a plea agreement with which Binance and its founder agreed to pay more than $4.3 billion in fines and restitution after the company and its founder pleaded guilty to violating anti-money laundering laws and breaking sanctions. These international efforts demonstrate the growing regulation of cryptocurrency exchanges to enhance their AML CTF controls. Guys, this is bullish stuff. This is what you want to see as a retail investor. These exchanges must be held accountable. They must be held to standards. They must be doing consistent and reliable audits to make sure they're backed, they're not insolvent, and that they're not breaking the law, right? This is important stuff. Lewis, what time are you going live on the Patreon, Rob? God bless you. You have to ask Ramona. She hosts the open mic Friday nights on open mic weekends on Fridays and Saturdays. I believe 9:30 p.m. Central, I believe. Corey Beeps, the A, B, C, D, E have issues. Ram and Sister Ramelia, tribute to Amelia live at ASOT 1000. Green Weekend, yes. Gamma Goddess says 9:30 p.m. Central. There you go. So yeah, so absolutely, guys. These laws are important, and these exchanges must be held to a level of accountability. So I don't know what you're posting, OG. I don't know what you're posting, brother. There's potential for volatility if we don't receive a September cut. Let's get into it.
Investors are awaiting Fed Chief Jay Powell's Jackson Hole speech scheduled for later this morning. Joining us right now to talk about it is Marta Norton. She is Chief Investment Strategist at Empower. Big moment, particularly in the quiet days of August, Marta. This is something that the street's definitely anticipating with bated breath, I guess we should say. What do you anticipate hearing from the Fed chair today? What impact could it have on markets?
Well, I think the first thing that's worth talking about when we think about this Jackson Hole speech is that a lot of folks are looking for clarity on what's to come in September in terms of the potential for a cut. And I really think what we've seen from Jay Powell at almost every press conference, especially at this point in time, is an unwillingness to tie his hands. So I think there's going to be a real emphasis on discussing, the concerns around tariff-induced inflation, and also thinking about the latest payroll report that we had and the revisions that came with it, the concerns that raised around the labor market, and really talking about the push-pull between those factors, but not necessarily front-running what that September decision looks like. And that's a departure from what we saw last year, where there really was a nod to what was to come in September. So I think that's my first expectation. Secondly, I think the real focus is looking at this long-term framework that,
if I've ever seen an Android before, that's an Android.
Was put in place back in 2020, and assessing whether that average inflation targeting is still something to maintain going forward. And I think that's a really critical long-term conversation.
If Jay Powell doesn't commit to a cut, which I would think most people are not anticipating that he's going to come out and say, yeah, this is it, we're going to cut rates. Does the market react? As long as he doesn't say there's no way we're cutting rates, does the market kind of just float along the way it's doing? Because, by the way, the market's doing pretty well.
Right. Well, what's interesting is even a week ago, we saw the futures market pricing in 100% probability of a cut in September. And we've seen that pull back over the past week. And I think that relates a bit to some of the comments that we've heard from Fed officials that have pushed back against that certainty of a September cut. So my guess is that the market will be able to take that in stride a bit, though, of course, the emphasis is on a September cut. That's where the preponderance of bets are today. So if we don't receive that in September, then of course, I think there is potential for at least some volatility.
I know this is a big day. People have been anticipating what the Fed chairman's going to say, but really earnings have maybe been the more powerful focus over the last couple of weeks. And earnings, for the most part, have been pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a really strong earnings season. Now, of course, we had a very low bar. Thinking through FactSet numbers, I think they had analyst expectations of earnings growth at around just under 5%. So that's a hurdle that's pretty easy to clear. But not only did companies clear it, they kind of soared over that hurdle with earnings growth coming in somewhere between 11, 12%. So a very strong and kind of typical earnings season that I think pushed back against concerns that I and others have had that tariffs could weigh and just kind of a weaker economy could weigh on these earnings. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't concerns going forward, but yeah, there's certainly been a lot of demonstration of fundamental health when we're taking a look at how companies have actually performed.
So have you been surprised by how well the markets have performed and held up?
Yeah, I think I have been surprised. When we take a look at what's happened with tariffs and with global trade in general, really what we've seen is a sea change. And I think when you see that level of shift from trade policy, the expectation is that at some point we're going to start to see some ramifications of that, whether that's in the economic data or whether that's in earnings. And yet it's really been muted, if any effect so at all. Now, I think one of the mistakes that I and others have made is thinking that the timing would be instantaneous. As we take a look at how companies have performed, how they've navigated these tariffs, there's been a real ability to be nimble. But now as we start to see these tariff rates come in play, I think at some point we are going to see some measure of impact. Whether it's going to be a meaningful impact or not, that remains to be seen. But I think over time we will start to see, this tax that companies are actually paying when it comes to tariffs, that will start to see some effect on earnings.
Well, do you think this is the high watermark then, or do you think you're not necessarily calling high watermark, but you're telling people to be prepared, investors to watch out?
I think there's some reason to rein in expectations. So if we take a look, at expectations for Q3 earnings, those are better than what they were for Q2, but they're still not extreme in terms of really positive expectations. And I think as those tariffs come through, that could weigh on earnings. When we're also taking a look at valuations, a lot of good news has been priced in the market, at least for the near term. The market has run very far, very fast, and it has been broad-based. So yes, tech has led, but we've also seen areas like industrials do quite well. Financials, consumer staples keep in line with the overall market. So I think there's been a certain amount of euphoria that has been priced in. So having some measure of circumspect perspective would make some sense here.
They put an Android on TV. They thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. All right. What else do we have? When your eyes look taped to your forehead, dead giveaway. Rob, I think your morning rant impacted BTC's Pomp. Keep up the good work. Ari, I see you, Ari. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here, even from work. Okay, let's get into it here. 5 billion options seismic wave in Bitcoin and Ethereum ahead of Powell's Jackson Hole speech. Investors split on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin and global markets are expected to see Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech at Jackson Hole today. At this point, it is predicted that Powell's hawkish stance could trigger a decline. Boy, did that not happen. While the market is currently focused on Powell's speech, the expiration date of options contracts in the crypto market has arrived today, as it does every Friday. According to data for the third week in August, $3.8 billion worth of Bitcoin and 930 million worth of Ethereum options will expire today on the Durabit Derivatives Exchange. Accordingly, the put-call ratio to BTC options is 1.30. The maximum loss point is $118,000, and the national value is 3.8 billion. Sorry, I lost where I was. When we look at the Ethereum options, we have a put call ratio of 0.83, a maximum loss point of 4,250, and the national value of 930 million. Bitcoin put calls ratio is 1.30, indicating the investors are seeking protection against potential declines. Ethereum's put call ratio is 80.83. This indicates relatively stronger call demand, suggesting investors are acting with balance in anticipation of a price reversal, which we did actually get. The main focus for investors has been ETH outperforming compared to Bitcoin. Investors managing risks by taking profits on calls while maintaining some delta positions through the spot puts. So not really too much volatility from the options expiring today, so that's good news. That's good news. All right, you know what? I will play this again because we played it at the beginning and a lot of people might have missed it. So this is why the market is pumping today, guys. Powell this morning.
In the near term, risks to inflation are tilted to the upside and risks to employment to the downside, a challenging situation. When our goals are in tension like this, our framework calls for us to balance both sides of our dual mandate. Our policy rate is now 100 basis points closer to neutral than it was a year ago. And the stability of the unemployment rate and other labor market measures allows us to proceed carefully as we consider changes to our policy stance. Nonetheless, with policy in restrictive territory, the baseline outlook and the shifting balance of risks may warrant adjusting our policy stance.
There it is.
Monetary policy is not on a preset course. FOMC members will make these decisions based solely on their assessment of the data and its implications for the economic outlook and the balance of risks.
Strawberry Dragon, I think it's the only speech he's giving at Jackson Hole, but he might do some sort of a sit-down, like fireplace talk or a fireside chat or something like that. Something like that might take place, some sort of an interview. But that's the only speech I believe that he will be giving, for sure. So, all right, looking at Bitcoin, what do we need to see today, guys? Well, as you can see, we're sitting just above. Just a hair above, like $25 above the 30-day SMA. So we need to close above that level. We need to close above the 30-day SMA, which is currently sitting at $116,741. So that's what we will be watching for today for the daily close. I will be back in about 2.5 hours for the afternoon live stream, 1 p.m. Central. Make sure you guys are here for that. And guys, get over to the Patreon. We got our new swing trading tier level over there. You're not going to want to miss out on that. We're live every single. We got open mic weekend tonight, guys, hosted by our own crypto mama, Ramona, and so much more. Join myself and thousands of other members today. Invest in your education. Invest in your future. It's less than the price of a cup of coffee a day, my friends. The link is in the chat. It's in the pinned comments. It's in the description. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you guys in about 2 hours. God bless.